Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Off the Boards on North Sports Dynasty. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Yacy, running the show solo tonight. So the playoffs have come. Finally. And we're getting the playoff hockey that we've all wanted. And honestly, it has been absolutely insane lately. So starting with game one of the Oilers, we dominated quite a bit of the game, but it was kind of a flashback almost to the 2022 Oilers, unfortunately, just seeing them fall apart, not capitalizing and finishing a game, which honestly is something that all of us Oilers fans are used to. So realistically, I'm pretty upset, pretty broken about that first loss because it could have been an easy win. So to give you kind of the highlights of it, it was a 4-3 finish in OT. Honestly, it all came down to penalties too. I like the fact of how the Oilers were playing a lot more aggressive. I think personally that's a good approach, especially with us having a little bit of a smaller team. This year having more so kind of some bigger guys kind of filling in those spots, those goons per se, right? But yeah, it's nice to see for sure. So, you know, the thing is though, is at the same time, we're playing playoff hockey right now, and people can't forget that it's a matter of knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when not to draw, stupid penalties. And that was just, the whole pretty much premise of this game, right? Is there were some real unnecessary penalties from Desharnais in the OT, along with Bouchard right at the end of the game at a crucial final 2 minutes. So honestly, things like that are what loses hockey games. So we need to be a lot better than that. And game one went to the Kings and well deserved. They kept on grinding, so you can't hate that. Mr. Scott Thaler, go Blues. I'm pretty sure the Blues aren't doing anything this season, bud. But hey, I like the dedication. I think that's awesome. So yeah, at number one, there were some highlights. Draisaitl scoring an amazing goal. He is looking absolutely phenomenal as of right now. You can't hit on that, especially him being one of the top two players in the world with McDavid. So it was nice to see that. And Bouchard as well. Absolutely unbelievable that, he has that shot still. So, I'm loving that. And I hope that continues. But, unfortunately we had that loss in the first game. Going into, I guess, yesterday's game. So we knew we had something to prove, which is, obvious in the playoffs. You want to play every game. You want to win every game, as any fan base does, right? But with yesterday's game, it's the same kind of story, unfortunately. Where we got ahead, we were looking really good, but it's like we stepped on the brakes a little bit. And I don't really understand that. There's no point to that, but I do like the fact that we were able to hold on to it. Klim Kostin giving us a crucial third period goal was awesome. And then on top of that, Evander Kane, scoring on that empty net to give us that 4-2 victory and tie the series is a good feeling. But we're going to LA right now. So, game 3 and game 4 are going to be very crucial games. Even if we can split it, I think that's going to be the crucial factor here. So Oilers looking phenomenal after yesterday, in my opinion. I think they're looking good. Are we looking better than Boston right now is the real question, though, right? Boston firing on all cylinders. They're still showing that they deserve to be here. How they were a dominant force in the regular season. Now they're showing that in the postseason too. Honestly, it's tough to say, but do I think that the Oilers have the makings potentially to go and go all the way? I do. I hope so at the very least. But as my co-host would say, one game at a time. So I think that's the important thing too, right? So can't get too ahead of myself. Oh, what's this? Leave me all by myself. That's fine. I should be on in a bit. Just watching the kid at the moment. No, that's fair. No obligations. No obligations. Here we are. So, um, it's going to be an interesting game 3 and game 4. Again, I don't want us to get too cocky and get too ahead of ourselves because the Kings deserve to be here too. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away. They were a dominant force in the Pacific all season. So realistically, this was the matchup that, it was kind of, chalked up to be and how the season was trending to be. So, with any good team in hockey, you're going to know that, you're going to have to play those really hard teams, right? There's not really necessarily an easy pathway. There might be an easier pathway to the second round, but ultimately you're going to be playing those top teams regardless, whether you want to or not. So there's something to be said about that. But again, in game two, it's unbelievable because still we were drawing unnecessary penalties. I look back to even what Evander Kane was doing with the high stick, where he was trying to clear the puck, which is good, especially when we were getting pressured as much as we were. But it's costly to make mistakes like that, right? Especially with the Kings being a very dominant offense and defense, right? You don't want to give them those opportunities to go and score for sure, right? So we really got to tighten up on that. As much as we're really good on the penalty kill, which is good, the Kings are, just as good at, helping, or I guess helping themselves draw penalties, right? So we got to be better at that. And if I remember correctly, I think we maybe had one power play last game, which is pretty insane, right? So they're not biting on that either. They don't want to give us the penalty kill. So they know what we are, we know what they are, and we just got to play our best hockey and not get too cocky. I think that's the important thing. So Alex Schommer would be here, but he's busy enjoying St. Louis and the Cardinals. He's not enjoying that Tampa Bay game right now, though. I can tell you that, Scott. Absolute dumpster fire tonight. Wow. Toronto Maple Leafs are just giving it to Tampa Bay. It's unbelievable. But yeah, it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. It's a good feeling, though. It's definitely a good feeling being in Edmonton, watching the city come alive. I think that's really cool. Just driving around to begin with and just kind of seeing how the city is coming alive and coming together, especially during playoffs, and people that are watching hockey that haven't been watching it for a long time. It's really awesome to see. So, but yeah, going a little bit forward, I really think it's going to be crucial for us to go into game three, and once we go to LA, and just not get too ahead of ourselves, really control the pace of the game. I think is going to be key here. And don't expect to be cocky either. I think what we got to do is we can't try and play that we're better than this LA Kings team, right? I think we got to play conservative hockey, and we just got to keep playing hockey that we're playing, and just tighten up a little bit, like I was saying before. I think that's important, and then that'll be the key to our success. So, what's up, Kyle Yacy? Sean Spence, what's going on, my dude? How about the Washington Capitals? No, just kidding. Not this season. I'm not in St. Louis, man. Scott Thaler. I'm in my hometown state of Florida, home of the Trash Lightning. I'm assuming that's Alex Schomburg. Yeah, man. I'm sure you're hiding right now. I don't know what's going on in that game, but yeah, that's really upsetting. I kind of want Tampa Bay to take it to Toronto, but I don't think that's in the cards tonight. So kind of what I'm thinking right now, this is how I'm predicting. I'm looking at it right now, and I think we're going to go into LA and we're going to split it. I never want to bet against the Oilers, but I think the next game is going to be a little bit of toss up. I'm going to lean towards the LA Kings just because they're going to be hungry. They're going to be upset, especially with how the last game went. So I think game three, they're going to come out a little bit strong. And unfortunately, they might give us the L. I'm thinking that we do, though, in game four, give them the rough time there, and we'll pull ahead for sure, and we'll get the W. And I think personally, this series is going to be going to game six. I see a lot of Oilers fans saying that we were going to go with like a clean sweep, but realistically, I don't think that's going to happen. Again, LA has proven why they deserve to be here with very, very clutch defense, still really good offensive scoring, and goaltending that's really good too. So, ultimately, we can't overestimate them for sure. And it's not impossible for anybody that's watched playoff hockey just to see that, we, like, any team could have their number and any team can be kicked out at any point. So, it's not uncommon to see a first round exit. So, Lightning are done. Just move on from that hope. I don't know. You know what? Toronto has these glimpses, Alec. It's tough to say, right? Toronto for sure. They're always a regular season machine, right? They're always in that top spot where they're scoring. Personally, I kind of think that, it's not quite done yet. You know, Toronto has this, notorious record of falling off in the first round. So, don't be entirely shocked that if this isn't going to be a game 7 series. So, it's tough to say. I definitely wouldn't lose hope quite yet, but hey, that's just me. Time to break your LA Kings jersey. Yeah, yeah, he's not gonna do that. We don't need to do anything like that. If it was game 7, I'd say the Lightning have a chance to come back. Some hurt feelings, Zach. It's okay. I get it. You know what? It's just like my Atlanta Falcons. We're just realistic with what our expectations should be. So yeah, no, definitely in the comment section. Let me know what you think about those Edmonton Oilers for sure. Um, let's speak the hypothetical right now. So let's say, unfortunately the Oilers were to go and have a first round exit, which is something that, I never would want by any means. Some areas where I think we could potentially improve on. I'm going to start with defense, as that's the pretty obvious one here, where, defense has been one of our biggest weaknesses for some time, as Chris would say as well. Having key players in key positions, right? Going back to Darnell Nurse, we said this before, where Darnell Nurse, right? He's a great hockey player, a great defender. Again, I think overpaid. Don't get me wrong. We're not going to go and, touch that one right now, but just making sure that, Darnell Nurse being like what he should be, like a 2A defender. We keep him in that position. We keep on making sure we're bringing in guys and bringing in that veteran leadership into this team, which we have a very, very young defensive line. So I think that's really important. People that are a little bit expendable, in my opinion, I think I'd be looking at Desharnais. Even just looking right now at the playoffs, Desharnais, like he's been a brute and he's been good. He's been bringing that physicality for sure. Especially against those big forwards, whether it's Kopitar or Adrian Kempe. Those guys that they're going to be the ones putting up the points for sure. But he's got a temper too, which is a good thing, but can be a bad thing. We don't need another person just drawing penalties all the time, and unfortunately, he's been a victim to that in both of the games. So definitely needs to clean up. And if he doesn't, and he keeps on costing us, these power plays, right? They're going to be looking at alternatives. So where is Alex Lusmer? I guess he's too busy getting the NFL edition together for later. No, that's right. No obligations, Nobody has to come on the Kyle show. I'm all about it. So, it's totally fine right now. But, just giving some updates as to right now where we're at for the games tonight. What do you got here? So, current scores we got tonight is, the Maple Leafs are still giving it to the Lightning, unfortunately, Alec. I don't know if you turned the game off yet, but it's still 6-1. And as of right now, we have the Rangers up 2-1 on the New Jersey Devils, which is pretty insane, actually. There is something to be said about some of these teams, being in the playoffs. You look at a team like New Jersey, who, having the Hughes brothers on it, and they're definitely rebuilding in the proper direction. But, playoff hockey is a very, very different game. And that's what some people need to realize. Having that experience or that playoff experience really can drive you to, obviously success, right? So, New Jersey not making the playoffs for how long, this is very foreign to them. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, players right now that are even a victim to that. Looking at even Stuart Skinner having a hell of a season, absolutely just balls out, unreal with the saves he's been making. But looking at him in game 1 and 2, he's a little nervous because he doesn't know what to expect in playoff hockey, right? You look at the teams like Pittsburgh, you look at Washington, you look at Tampa Bay, even for that matter, right? They're the teams that have gone every year, minus this year for Pittsburgh, which, no, I'm not trying to rub in salt to the wound, but, they know what style of playoff hockey they want to play, right? And it really works for them too. So, having a new team come into the playoffs, don't get me wrong, it's a great part, but at the same time, we really have to make sure that, we're not overestimating, these teams, right? So that's just something to consider. But we'll kind of see how it goes from then on. It's really tough to say, but at the end of the day, we're all about them Oilers. So I'll keep this short, keep it sweet, and then we'll tune in afterwards. Once game 3 and 4 happen. So peace out.